Advocate Johnson, who is the leader of IDAC, also committed the same offense as Lieutenant General Khumalo.
Advocate Johnson made an error of judgment at the time. The circumstances are extremely so far apart. It cannot be compared. You've got to compare apples with apples. There's absolutely no way the IDAC would arrest people in order to subvert an investigation into organized criminality. I can lay my head on the block.
Well, I know that the issue around the arrest of Lieutenant General Khumalo has actually discussed quite extensively, but I can't resist the temptation of wanting to find out from you that Lieutenant General Khumalo, as we all know, is National Head of Crime Intelligence. And in this instance, together with his entire team, is arrested. And that actually is a blow to the national management of the country's crime intelligence. Now, did it occur to you that the national security might be actually compromised by the arrest of this top management of our crime intelligence?
In terms of how the ID assessed it, I think in their view they saw a greater threat to national security with the situation that was unfolding in terms of their case theory with regard to the recruitment of people for specific reasons. And so the IDAC, the ID, has explained that this was part of a much larger case strategy, that this is one of several other matters. And so in their assessment, this was in fact in itself a risk to national security, so they needed to proceed on this matter.
Surely this is a crisis situation for the country. I would have expected that this development would be actually taken to the higher or even the highest echelons of the leadership of the country. Did you inform the president of the country about the impending arrest of the top criminal, the crime
No.
intelligence people?
I did not
Was the president informed about it?
I did not inform the president of this.
I beg.
I did not inform the president.
Is there any particular reason? Because I would expect that the president would need to be actually put in the loop about these developments.
I think with hindsight, you're right. The president should have been informed of this.
Advocate Johnson, who is the leader of IDAC, in my view, also committed the same offense as Lieutenant General Khumalo, by actually presiding over the process to employ her husband. What have you done to deal with this? I know that is 20 years ago, but wrong is wrong now or 100 years ago. That is why the Nuremberg trials are still taking place 70 years after the World War, or even.
And that is why we are still prosecuting people for TRC-related cases 30, 40 years after the commission of these many offenses. So I agree with you. But the circumstances are very different. And one has to look at the context of this matter. In my view, Advocate Johnson made an error of judgment at the time, and the circumstances are extremely so far apart that it cannot be compared. You've got to compare apples with apples. In this case, we're not comparing apples with apples. She didn't do anything close to what is alleged in this case. Excuse me.
Thank you, Honorable Advocate. When Lieutenant Mncwango was here, he told us that actually Lieutenant General Khumalo did not employ the person in question. He merely presided over a panel that was actually interviewing, but the actual appointment was done by another panel, which has not been arrested. Could there be any reason why they have not been arrested if employing that particular individual was a crime?
Honourable Member, with all due respect, when one looks at one simple fact, it may not appear to be amounting to a criminal act. But in order to decide whether a crime has been committed or not, one has to look at all of the evidence before the investigators. And so this is one allegation, but it's not all the evidence. Clearly, all the evidence would have justified such action in the circumstances, and we have to consider all of the evidence. I want to really emphasize that.
Well, then we were deprived of that information because the issue that kept on coming up here was the issue that Lieutenant General Khumalo presided over the employment of a particular individual, which was a major charge. Okay, but I'm no longer there.
If I could respond to that, Honourable Chair,
okay.
through you. I again emphasize the fact that there is a review process available. And I would urge that if anyone is aggrieved by this decision, that they invoke the review process so that the matter can be considered by the National Director.
I'm not sure whether you are aware, Advocate, of a bad relationship between Advocate Johnson's husband and that of Lieutenant General Khumalo. And we learned that Mr. Johnson actually works under the supervision of Lieutenant General Khumalo.
I'm not aware of a bad relationship, and I do believe, I think Advocate Johnson was asked about this question, but I want to emphasize again that if there's an insinuation that the reason for this case is that bad relationship, that is not the case, because as I explained earlier, this case came to the attention of the IDAC through a Section 27 referral. Had that referral not been made, this case would never have seen its day in court. So I think it's very important to understand the circumstances under which the IDAC became seized with this matter.
Lieutenant General Mncwango actually strongly believes that the arrest of Lieutenant General Khumalo and his team is actually motivated by none other than the work that they are doing in actually investigating and arresting the drug and criminal, syndicates in Johannesburg. What would you say to that?
There's absolutely no way the IDAC would arrest people in order to subvert an investigation into organized criminality. I can lay my head on the block that the head of the ID, Advocate Johnson, will never allow or be in any way inclined to act in that manner at all. So I want to dispel that notion very strongly that that would have been a motivation for the arrests in this matter.